Alrighty. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our last Lunch and Learn of our 2026 kickoff series. My name is Cameron Watson, and I serve as the Marketing and Communications Manager for PHCC Texas. I'm pleased to host today's session with Chad McLane of McLane Advisors Investment Services and appreciate you taking the time to join us. These briefings are designed to provide timely and practical insights from McLane Advisors who are directly engaged in the financial process to benefit your business. As you may notice, your cameras and mics have been turned off for this meeting. To engage with today's session, we ask that you please type your questions in the Q&A box below. If you wish to chat with us or an attendee, please be sure to click the specific attendee's name in the chat box so your message will not be shared with the entire audience. We have a full and informative program ahead, and we encourage you to stay engaged. Thank you again, and we shall begin. I'll pass it over to you.
Cameron, thank you. Appreciate you guys taking the time. For starters, just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's helped. I know Vicky wasn't able to make it today, but she's been a big help and a big pusher. So this is our third year with you guys as a sponsor and second year since we formalized an endorsement and kind of a partnership, which we've enjoyed. And I thought it would be beneficial to start off. If I was anyone else watching this, I would want to know a little bit about who's presenting, and not just me as Chad McLane, but as our company. So I kind of thought a little bit of a history about who we are and what's got us to this point would be appropriate. So I'm going to pull something up here. Let me see if I can't get that on the screen for you. Hopefully the slides pulled up appropriately. So looking here, McLane Advisors was started, and I'm going to go over 2 pages here real quick, but my grandfather in the top right, Frank McLane Sr., in 1954, he worked with the city of Houston to develop the very first group health insurance plan that the city of Houston ever adopted for city employees. They didn't even have group and health insurance. And in 1954, he enrolled the city, and you could get health insurance for $16 a month, full coverage. Wouldn't that be a treat today? So in that process of doing it, they actually started a insurance business out of this in the 50s. Started writing a lot of insurance through the city of Houston. It morphed out to the other cities surrounding Houston. It started going throughout the state. And after decades of writing life insurance, a lot of these people started to pass away. And so naturally, our firm by the 70s and 80s started to handle investment proceeds from the decades of writing life insurance policies. That's kind of the story of how we started off. Currently, we are located here in Montgomery, Texas. Um, since this, depending on where you're watching this from, I zoomed out on the map intentionally so everyone could kind of see where Montgomery was. If I zoomed in too close, people wouldn't know. But we're just north of Houston, about an hour and 10 minutes, depending on traffic. So the firm started off in the 50s on the 290 loop, 610 loop and 290, moved out to Tomball in 1995. And then from after 1995, we were there for many years. We've recently moved out to Montgomery. So we keep running away from the city, just trying to get away from some of the hustle and bustle. This is our current office location. We're on Lake Conroe. If you guys are familiar with Lake Conroe, we have a section of this building suite here. So this is our location. We'd love to see anybody. If you're ever driving down I-45 and you want to come over to our office, we're just 15 minutes off I-45. So anyone coming to Houston or any other direction, please come see us, come visit. Everything we do is complimentary. There's no paid services. There's no paid visits. Everything is complimentary to you guys. And that was part of the arrangement made with PHCC. Just like we talked about some of our other things that we do, to give you an idea, we have affiliations with other groups as well. The TMPA, which is the Texas Municipal Police Association, it's the largest association for police officers in the state of Texas. They have 33,000 police officers that are currently members in just the state of Texas. We are their financial services division, and we have been since 1995. So we have a long history with them, going on 30 years. And that is what led us to the PHCC a little bit when Vicky and I discussed and others discussed what we provide for the Texas Municipal Police Association. Those benefits, we wanted to be able to provide those to the members of the PHCC as well. So the benefits that we have provided in the 30 years of being affiliated with the Police Association are these three categories you see here. Survivor benefit assistance. There's always a lot of questions on that, on life insurance. Do I need it? In your case, with the PHCC and members, the question could be, do I need life insurance for me? Do I need it for my partner? Do I need it for the business? If I'm an owner, is my business secure and safe if something happens to me, right? These are conversations that they're difficult to have. We don't like having them, but they're a reality, right? So we do a lot of survivor benefit assistance and planning for your business, for your family, and any other needs that might arise from that. The other thing that we've done for years past is financial planning and investments. So a lot of these members that we were servicing here and still service today, it's not their forte. It's not their expertise. I don't know how to do what you guys do. And that's why we all have our niche, right? So I don't know how to do what you do. I don't know how to be an officer. I don't know how to be a plumber. I don't know how to do an HVAC system. I'm the guy that just pays a ton of money to have it fixed. But we do know how to manage financial planning and investment proceeds. That's what we're good at. So we offer that to people, a full complimentary overview, which we'll kind of cover on a couple slides. But all of these things that you see today, I want you guys to think as you go through this, oh, it sounds good, but what's the catch? There is no catch. Everything we do through these affiliations, through these endorsements, it is a service provided to you. As a member, you have access to everything we show you complimentary. Now, if you decide to invest with us, those investments and underlying investments could have underlying cost for service, right? But you don't have to use us, and we can build a full plan for you. And I just don't want you guys to think that there's a cost or a hidden cost, because there is not. So all services are complimentary. Just keep that in mind. And then the other thing is a path to retirement, right? What does it look like? How do I get there? A lot of people always say, don't retire without a plan. I always tell people, you know, it's a little too late if you sit there, or I'm sorry, a lot of people say, don't work without a retirement plan. I say, don't retire without one. So many people work, and I get it. You guys are in the trench, you're working hard. Um, you'll work for 10, 15, 20 years and trying to make ends meet, trying to grow your business, trying to save for your family. But you need to be planning for the future, because retirement will sneak up on you. Ready or not, it comes, right? So no matter where you are in life, it's never too late. Take the time to think about, what are your goals? What are your plans? How am I going to retire? And what will that path look like? And by the way, while I'm doing the slide, I cannot see the comment bar. So Cameron, feel free to interrupt me if you see a comment, because on the slide, it takes away the comments. So if there's a question or a comment, please feel free to just raise your hand or stop me, Cameron, and we can address it as we go. So what can we do for you? A lot of people say, why do I need a financial advisor? Or what services does the financial advisor provide for me that I don't know I don't need, or I don't know I need? So we create a lot of comprehensive financial plans, right? We look at your income, your debts, your goals. We look at your current investments. We look at retirement planning. Are your investments on track to meet your goals? We look at your Social Security benefits. Social Security can get complex, especially when you start to look at Medicare with it. We look at spousal benefits. Can you get that? Can you apply for it? Even if your spouse hasn't worked, we look at all these different things to kind of build a planning and a forecast. And so what I want to show you is kind of what a forecast might look like. So example, this is something that we've provided for years. What we call this a benefit analysis, and it can be modified and changed for anyone. But without getting too deep on this analysis, what this does is we build in a layout, a single page layout that shows your assets, whether that be a pension or Social Security, whether it be a 401k, deferred comp plans, money you've saved through other employers or personally, whether it be IRAs, Roth IRAs, you name it. There's all different buckets of money where you can save in life. And what we do is we take current income, we take deductions, Social Security, Medicare, retirement contributions, and we find out what your adjusted gross income is. And then we find out what can all of your assets and future income streams provide. And we can project this. We can go out to 2027, 2030, 2035, and we can take all your future assets. We can even forecast those assets. So if you have an IRA and it's $100,000 in the IRA, we can forecast with contributions and with growth what that IRA would be and what the income producing power of that IRA would be. And it kind of builds a summary. So in this example here, this individual could retire at 86% of their current lifestyle. So once we took all of their assets, income, and investments, and we took their current pay, they're at 86%. That's just a helpful tool, right? A lot of people, they want to know if I'm going to retire, what am I going to get compared to what I'm getting? And so we like to break it down to a percentage of lifestyle because people understand, if I get 86% of my lifestyle, that means I'm only giving up 14, which might be $500 or $400. Or it might be 110%. So your numbers can vary depending where you are in your planning. So this is something that we like to put together. I encourage everyone who does watch this, get one done. We'll give you about 5 bullets. It's all we need. There's like 5 bullet points. We can email you, and you can send us some information back, and we can put one of these together for you. The other thing we do is investment allocation designs. So many of you have investments, and whether that's through an employer or whether that's your personal investments, sometimes, and I've been doing this, this is my 20th year. I didn't go down that history part. I was giving you the history of the company. But regarding myself, just so you guys do know, I have been here. October of 2025 is my 20th year doing this. So I've been here a long time. And in 20 years of doing this, I've seen so many people with investments, and they have no idea where to put their money. They have no idea where their money is. They don't know if it's risky. They don't know if it's conservative. They don't know how it's doing. So we do come in and we will build allocations for you. This is an example of an allocation where we'll come in and we'll do 10%, 8%, 15, 22. We will build positions based on market conditions and based off your risk tolerance. So if you are concerned about the market or if you're a conservative investor, let us help you. Whether that's with your current 401k that we don't even administer, even if we don't administer or take care of that plan for you, we'll look at your allocations and we'll say, okay, let us make some changes for you. If we can help you build a balanced allocation portfolio that does well, long term, you'll feel more comfortable to use our services. So please feel free. That's something that we would like to get involved with and build for you. It's just an allocation design. And coming back to these 3 things, what do we do for you? Retirement planning. I showed you the analysis that we'd like to put together. That benefit analysis is helpful. Allocation designs. And then debt and income. I did not build a slide for this because this is a long conversation. Debt and income is very personal. Everyone's situation is completely different. So that can be whether it be paying off a loan, school loans, car loans, business loans, mortgages. So we kind of need to look at all of that. It's important to look at how you pay off debt and what income you use. There are tax advantages to certain debts. So by using certain different assets. So if you have questions about debt and income planning, let's discuss what your debts are, whether it's credit debt, whether it's line of credits, things like that. We really need to assess it one-on-one, but we can build a comprehensive plan to slowly chip away at any of those things. So moving forward, a lot of people say, well, I want to save, I want to plan for my retirement, but I don't know how to start. This is a section here that will apply to anyone who watches this, whether you're a business owner, whether you're an employee, whether you're retired, it does not matter. These buckets generally will suffice for your needs. So the most common ways to start saving is typically one of these 3 positions here in the big boxes. Let's look at the middle box for a minute, which is an IRA. That is the most typical term that most people have heard. An IRA stands for an individual retirement account. Most people will put money in an IRA. It is tax deductible. So for the year of 2026, I can put up to $7,500 in my IRA, and I get a tax deduction for doing that. So if I made $50,000 and I put $7,500 in, I don't have to report that $7,500 as income, and I don't have to pay tax on it yet. So that is the most traditional thing that people will do if they don't have a 401k offered by an employer. A lot of questions that come up, and these are very common, is, well, I've heard about a Roth IRA. What's the difference between a Roth versus an IRA? An IRA is pre-tax, meaning the money I put into it, I get a deduction, and I don't pay tax on that money until I pull it out. A Roth IRA is this money I put in that I've already paid tax on. So I've already paid tax on this money, but all of the earnings and growth are tax-free if I hold it for a predetermined amount of time. So if I'm willing to let that sit and grow, if I put in 7,000, 7,000, 7,000, or 500, 5,000 or 500 a month, whatever, you just can't go over that cap, right? If you're under age 50. If you're over age 50, you can do up to 8,600 a year. So there is a little bit of a boost that the IRS will let you do. But if I'm putting money into a Roth, and if I have time over the course of 5, 10, or 15 years, there could be 50 to $100,000 of accumulation and growth that is tax free if I put it inside of a Roth. So these are two things that we'll visit with you about. And you have to look at your income. You have to look at your tax bracket to decide which one is best for you. And that kind of goes back to the whole debt and income, right? Once we look at your debt, we look at your income. Knowing where your income is, we'll know which one to suggest to get the best tax advantage. Another one is a lot of people say, well, I'd like to save more than 7,500. That limit of 7,500 or 8,600, how do I save more? A SEP, which is a SEP IRA, SEP contributions are nothing more than an IRA, but if you're considered self-employed, and so many, and Cameron, you can just nod your head, but a lot of your participants are self-employed. I've visited, I've gone to conferences, I've talked to so many of you guys. A lot of you guys own your own business or you're just self-employed and you got a few people who work for you, or you contract with a company. And so you're just getting contract 1099. If you're self-employed, you can put substantially more in an IRA by using a SEP, and they'll let you do up to 25% of your income. It's massive. So if I made 50,000, 25% would be over $12,000. That's a lot more than the 7,500. So if you're really trying to buckle down, you're really trying to catch up, you're really trying to save, we'll visit with you about exceeding these contributions by using a different type of IRA, especially if you're self-employed. This is a really, really nice feature to defer up to 25% of your income. And that 25% cannot exceed 72,000. I know we all hope we hit that number. So the third thing that is a common investment is joint accounts. Joint accounts are for post-tax money, after-tax money. These are accounts where you've accumulated excess money in your bank account and you might be sitting on a large amount in the bank and you're earning next to nothing on it. A lot of people will open up a joint account or an individual. It doesn't have to be joint, but you can open an account with you and your spouse. You can open up an account with business partners. This is very common where we have business partners say our company is sitting on excess capital. And we'll talk about that in another slide. But a lot of times they'll open up a joint account or they'll open up in the name of the business. The name of the entity can actually open the account. And there's no contribution limits. You can put as much as you want into it. There's no tax deduction either, but there's no contribution limits. So you can, if you have 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, you can put whatever you'd like into the account and you can access all these different features and investment features that we're about to talk about. Other choices down here at the bottom, it pulled up a little slide there. Solo 401k, if you're looking to do some things there, a defined benefit. If you have a lot of wage, if you're a high earner and you need to defer more than this 72,000, which is a SIP contribution, defined benefits are another way. So there's IRAs, there's SEPs, and then there's defined benefits. So there's different levels. We can take this as far as anyone needs to go. But if you're trying to maximize tax deductions, if you're trying to defer as much of your income and not pay taxes to the IRS, visit with us about a defined benefit. The last thing is a company-sponsored 401k at the bottom. Company-sponsored 401ks are a huge benefit. This would be an example. If you work for a company, if you help manage a company, or if you're the owner, if you have not looked into the Secure 2.0 Act, this is something that you need to visit with us about. The Secure 2.0 Act was passed a few years ago, about 4, if I go back correct, I think it was 2020. But the 2.0 Act is offering huge tax credits for businesses that offer a 401k. The participants do not have to participate in the 401k. It just has to be offered. And this is massive. To give you an idea, they're offering up to $1,000 in credit per employee. So to give you an idea, if it's a business with 20 employees, and if these employees make under 100,000 a year each, and you can do a different threshold, but these credits over the course of 5 years for a business with 20 employees to the owner, it can be $81,000 in credits to the owner, not deduction, credit. It's actual credit. You'll get $81,000 in tax credits if you're a business with 20 employees. Now, if you have more or less, we can run the numbers, but let us put this together. If you don't have a 401k, as a business owner, you can get paid a lot of credit. And these credits are paid out over a 5-year time frame, which is why we show here tax year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that 81,000, you get credits over the course of 5 years. But this is a great tool for your employees. It's a great tool for retention. If you're trying to get people and they want them to stay with you, offer a 401k. It can be done very, very cheap. It can be done with a 3%, 4% match. You can do very, very small matches. But as an employer, you get a very, very large tax credit for offering it. So it's also a good way for hiring. We've had a lot of businesses that we worked with recently where we implemented a 401k and their acquisition for new employees went up. They were able to attract a higher value employee. So people do care about what the retirement package looks like. So this is a way to attract people, get your plan started, but get a lot of contributions to cover the cost for starting it, as well as you can even pocket some of the money, or you can actually put this money as a business owner into the 401k. So visit with us about the Secure 2.0 if you have questions, or if you want this analysis. If you want one of these produced for you, we can produce one of these. Next section here is a lot of people we mentioned earlier, a lot of business owners or individuals. You guys are sitting on a lot of excess cash, and I understand that we need operating capital, right? Every business needs operating cash to run payroll and expenses, but it can get extreme. The biggest flaw that we've seen is so many people or businesses sitting on cash that is not earning anything. So this is something that we use, and we built a model. We actually use Charles Schwab, and we actually have proprietary custom-built models through Charles Schwab that we run and manage. This is something where a lot of people are putting excess cash that is 100% liquid. And if you look here, we highlighted in red, the protection level is 100%. So there is no risk to your capital. We see businesses sitting with 50, 100, 200,000, 400,000 in capital and sitting in a bank, earning nothing or earning 0.1%. This is a lot of people will move it over. It's in the entity's name. It's still in the name of the business or your individual. There is no risk to the principal. It's as safe as your bank account. But they give you the first 7.5% of whatever the S&P 500 does. So you're sitting in the account, and if you look here at the bottom, this one's the Russell 2000, but they have different indexes that we put it in. And 100% of any risk is covered for you. But throughout the course of the year, the first 7.5% of any growth is yours to keep. That is a massive increase compared to what you can make in the bank. So this gives you an opportunity to participate with growth without any risk to the principal, but still maintain full liquidity. Another nice perk about this, and I know this is a lot of information for a screen share in a Zoom, but the nice thing here is you guys can pause it and rewind it and listen to it again. Something that's really important to know is when you invest in your bank, when you invest in CDs or sit in cash, the interest you earn is called short-term capital gains. You have to pay ordinary income on that. So if I have a CD and it pays me 4% or 3%, right now you're probably 3.25. If I made 3% on 100 grand, I made $3,300. That counts as ordinary income, which you're looking at 20 to sometimes 30% tax on. So that 3% really only paid you about 2.2 after taxes. This strategy that I'm showing you here can be considered long-term capital gains. So the nice thing about it is if we hold it for 12 months and a day, all of the gains applied to the account are considered a long-term capital gain, which are anywhere between 0, depending on your tax bracket, up to 15% max. So if I'm in a tax bracket of 22, 24, 34, this is very important because the tax savings could literally be 50% of what you're paying. You can cut your tax bill down in half and have a potential earning yield of more than twice than what the bank is. So consider something like this. Um, I did want to open it up for some questions. There's a lot of different avenues that we can go down, a lot of different things that we could discuss. I would rather kind of just see if there's some questions or thoughts. I've always been told never hold a meeting just for the sake of having a meeting. So I don't want to sit here and I don't want to talk for 30 minutes. I kind of wanted to give you guys a few snippets, a few things that are important to look at. Um, Remember, just going back where you can put your cash. Do I need a 401k? Can I qualify for tax credits? What are traditional accounts to invest in? Another thing is how to invest my money. Let us help you there. As a quick review, forecast. Let us help build a forecast for you. Another thing that we talked about is some of our affiliations, associations, and who we are. So please feel free, reach out. Let us know what we can do for you. My email and phone number are right here listed if you want to write that down or jot it down. But other than that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Cameron. If you have a question for the group or if there's any questions, we can talk about it and go from there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I am